The hospital hallways were quiet that night, the kind of silence that felt heavier than usual. Dr. Leo Carter, only 27 and fresh from medical school, volunteered for the overnight shift, again. Most residents avoided room 12. Inside, surrounded by machines and the cold hum of monitors, lay Emily Hayes. Once the face of global tech innovation, now just a silent figure in a coma for nearly a year after a freak accident. Her name was known around the world, but in that sterile room, she was simply a patient, unmoving, untouched, unspoken to. Leo had read about her, of course. Everyone had. But as he stepped in, what struck him wasn't her fame or fortune. It was how forgotten she looked. Flowers were wilted, cards gathering dust. No visitors in weeks. Carefully, he changed her bandage, a task routine to others, but to Leo, it felt personal. Her hand, soft but cold, rested limply on the sheets. On impulse, he took it in his. "You're not alone," he whispered, voice barely audible. "You're still here, and I see you." He didn't know why he said it. Maybe it was the fatigue. Or maybe it was the way her stillness mirrored the ache he'd carried since his mother's passing the year before. But in that moment, Leo wasn't just a doctor. He was a human being reaching out to another, lost soul. He sat for a moment longer than needed, unaware that his quiet compassion was about to stir the world in ways no one could have imagined. 3 nights later, the rain tapped gently against the hospital windows, a slow, rhythmic sound that matched Dr. Leo Carter's mood. He had returned to room 12 again, despite not being scheduled. There was something about Emily Hayes that pulled at him, not her wealth, not her fame, but the quiet, tragic stillness that surrounded her. He had brought his guitar, tucked carefully behind his coat. It wasn't hospital protocol, but Leo wasn't one to follow rules when it came to the human heart. Sitting beside her, he played a soft melody. One his mother used to sing while battling cancer. The song wasn't loud or polished, but full of longing, of second chances. As his fingers strummed the last few chords, he glanced up, and froze. It was faint. So faint he questioned if he imagined it. But her right index finger twitched. Just once. Just enough. His heart raced. "Emily," he whispered, standing, watching for any other sign. Nothing. Stillness again. He pressed the call button, trying to stay calm as a nurse rushed in. She dismissed it. Said it was a muscle reflex. But Leo knew what he saw. What he felt. It wasn't science, it was something deeper. An echo responding to a voice that refused to give up. He sat beside her again and gently changed her bandage, as he always did. Only this time, he looked at her not as someone fading, but as someone reaching. And he whispered, "I know you're fighting your way back." It was just past dawn when Leo returned to room 12. The sky outside was painted in soft streaks of orange and gold, but the room remained dim and quiet, like it always did. He hadn't told anyone he was coming, he just couldn't stay away. Something inside him insisted today was different. As he sat beside Emily, her face pale but peaceful, he reached for her hand again. It had become a ritual now, changing her bandages, speaking gently, offering music or memories, whatever he could. But today, he leaned in closer and whispered, "You once changed the world. You can come back from this. I believe in you." And then, it happened. A breath. A shift. Her brow twitched, her lips parted slightly, and then, her eyes fluttered open. Confused, unfocused, but open. Leo gasped, not daring to believe it. "Emily," he said softly. She blinked, slowly turning her gaze toward him. Her voice was a mere breath, cracked and dry. "Who are you?" Tears filled Leo's eyes as he held her hand tighter. "I'm just someone who didn't want you to feel alone." Alarms started beeping softly as the machines registered her awakening. Nurses rushed in, shouting orders and disbelief. But Leo didn't move. For that moment it was just the two of them, one waking from darkness, the other stunned by the power of a simple act of care. He smiled through his tears. "Welcome back." Weeks had passed since Emily Hayes opened her eyes, and her recovery, though slow, was nothing short of remarkable. The sterile silence of room 12 had been replaced by soft conversations, light laughter, and fresh sunlight pouring through the windows each morning. But one constant remained, Dr. Leo Carter, sitting beside her every evening, just as he had when she was silent. One day, as she sat up in bed, her voice still raspy but growing stronger, Emily turned to Leo and asked, "Why did you keep coming back?" He hesitated. "Because, no one else did. And I couldn't stand to see someone forgotten." She looked away for a moment, then back at him. "Before the accident, I was surrounded by people. Assistants. Investors. Fans. But none of them would have sat in that chair just to hold my hand." She paused, her voice thickening. "When I was unconscious, I remember something, faint, like a dream. Music. A voice. A warmth I hadn't felt in years. I think it was you." Leo didn't know what to say. She continued, "I built everything from the ground up. Wealth, influence, a company. But it took almost losing it all to realize I had nothing real, until you." Tears welled in her eyes. "You didn't know me. You had no reason. But you stayed. And because of that, I came back." Leo smiled, humbled and quiet. He didn't see himself as a hero. But in that moment, he realized kindness didn't need a spotlight, it just needed a willing heart. The grand hall was packed, cameras flashing and reporters buzzing as Emily Hayes took the stage for the first time since her recovery. Dressed in a simple navy suit, no glamour, no spotlight chasing. Just authenticity. Behind her stood Dr. Leo Carter, looking uncomfortable in a borrowed blazer, clearly out of place in the glittering crowd. Emily stepped up to the microphone, paused, then began. "Everyone said it was a miracle that I woke up. But it wasn't." She turned to Leo. "It was him." Gasps rippled through the room as she continued, her voice firm but emotional. "Dr. Leo Carter wasn't assigned to me. He wasn't paid to care. He showed up, night after night, when no one else did. He changed my bandages. He talked to me. He held my hand. He gave me something I hadn't felt in a long time, hope." She announced the launch of the Carter Foundation, dedicated to supporting young doctors who lead with compassion and humanity. "The world needs more healers like him," she said. "Not just brilliant minds, but kind hearts." Reporters flooded Leo with questions, but when someone finally asked, "How did you bring her back?" he simply replied, "Kindness isn't medicine. But sometimes, it heals what science can't." As the crowd rose in a standing ovation, Leo didn't feel like a hero. He felt grateful. Because in trying to help a stranger come back to life, he had rediscovered what it meant to truly live. And somewhere in the applause, hope took a deeper root.